everyone, I'm going to have a quick chat about her under my adult author name of LJ Diva. It's the first book in the Illicit Things series, and the whole entire series, there's the other two, which I'll get to at some point, was inspired by the TV show Blue Bloods. That's right, Blue Bloods inspired a series of books. Now, if you know Blue Bloods, Tom Selleck, Donnie Wahlberg, here in Australia, Channel 10 had the rights to it and owned the rights to it because part of the network is owned by CBS. So we, at some point in 2021, had 4 nights of repeats of Blue Bloods. And it was anywhere between 4 and 8 episodes a week. So I was getting overdosed on it. And then one night in September 21, I came out of REM state having this dream about the Reagan family. And my brain had this conversation. Oh, that would make a really good idea for a story. Yeah, but he's too young. So what does it matter? It's fiction. You're right. So between my brain having this conversation with my muse, or whoever it was as I was coming out of REM state, this came about, this book. And it was kind of wickedly delicious, and I rubbed my hands together. And I'd never done that with an idea. It's, I'd say it's a psychological, I wouldn't call it a thriller as such. There's some crime, some murder mystery, sex, not drugs, just yet. But that's later on in the series. It's about Sydney Kingston, a best-selling Australian author who's been living in LA, having her books turned into movies for about 10 years. She moves to New York to take inspiration from the gritty streets of the city to help inspire the crime thriller, the psychological thriller that she wants to write. However, she very soon meets the Ryan family. Now, very much inspiration from the Reagans on Blue Bloods. We have Police Commissioner Cormac Ryan, whose father, Douglas Ryan, former police commissioner, lives with him. Now, what I changed out was the 4 children. Now, on the show, as we know, Joe passed away from being shot by another cop. And Erin is the only daughter. No daughters in here. 4 sons. Alec Ryan is the eldest. He's the district attorney. For some reason, I had a young Alec Baldwin in my head when I was writing that. And then there is Connor Ryan, whose image I had from the photo of the actor that you see as Joe Reagan on Blue Bloods. So I don't know who he is. If anyone's found him, let me know. And then I sort of had Donnie Wahlberg in my head for Declan. And I didn't quite have Will Estes in my head for Kieran, who's the youngest and also a lawyer. So we've got district attorney, detective, lawyer. Now, Alex got 2 kids, Brandon and Sierra. Connor's got a son, Ethan, who's also a detective. As we know, Joe Jr. on Blue Bloods. Declan's got Sean. It's the only name I stole and kept, Sean Ryan, as in Sean Reagan. So it was the character of Sean that very much inspired this original book. And Sydney ends up getting involved with the family in more ways than one. Emerson used to know, or was roommates with Laura, Declan's wife, at college many a year before. And that's how they end up, coming back into each other's lives. And stuff starts happening at the brownstone that Sydney moves into because she bought a Madam's brownstone. Used to be a Madam's brownstone. So that was why she bought it, because it used to belong to a madam 10 years before, and she thought the history would help her write her thriller. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff happens because it used to belong to a madam. So that story comes later in the series. But she soon finds out that the Ryan family in this book are very much linked to the madam. But this is as the first book is all about Sydney and Sydney's view and viewpoint of the series. So this is her story, because it gets interesting as the books go on. So that's her, LJ Diva, very much inspired by Blue Bloods. So if you love Blue Bloods and you love Tom Selleck, Donnie Wahlberg, etc., and you love the Reagan family, but you thought they were a bit too goody-goody, let's just say in this series, I fuck that family right up. And I make them completely different. So that's her by LJ Diva, the first book in the Illicit Things series. And the Illicit Things was taken from a book by a character in the book, because as authors you have to come up with titles, and the titles were so good, I was like, yeah, I've got to use them. So Herb, under my adult author name of LJ Diva, in the Illicit Things series. It's going to get better. Out now at all good online bookstores, paperback, ebook, large print paperback, and dust jacket hardcover at all good online bookstores. Yeah, by LJ Diva, a Blue Bloods inspired trilogy. Book 1.